reporter asks another question of the person on the street. Today's question: if you brush your teeth 2 times a day, it will take almost 3 years to brush them 2,000 times. How long do you think it will take to brush them 2 million times?
And how long will it take, and how many, the length of...
2 million, because it's twice a day. 300 years.
1,000 years and more.
It'll take about 2,700 years. Now, how long will it take to brush them 2 billion times?
2 billion times? It's 1,000 times that. 2,000, 2 million years. 300,000. 7,000?
It'll take about 2,700,000 years.
I knew there was a 7.
We now return you to the Secret Number quiz show, What's My Number, already in progress.
Well, panel, I honestly don't know how you could have missed that one, but somehow you always manage. Let's try the next secret number, shall we? Take a look at your monitors. As you know, your grid is numbered 0 to 99, and our next secret number is in this section.
For you couch potatoes, I'll give you another hint. The secret number is one of these.
Let's begin questioning with Kitty Hardworm, well-known quiz show panelist about whom Marshall McLuhan once said...
Oh, never you mind what he said, John Charles, every other daily. John, is the number a multiple of 3 or of 5?
Interesting question. Is the number a multiple of 3 or 5? Let's take a look at our number grids. The number which you seek is not a multiple of 3 or 5. However, you did eliminate several numbers with that question. That brings us to Alan Stevens, the world's funniest man, self-proclaimed, of course.
Thank you, John. Take my dog, Fleas. Oh, down, boy. Just kidding, John. And if you've ever kidded John...
Do you have a question?
Yes. Is the sum of the digits a factor of 35?
Interesting question. Is the sum of the digits a factor of 35? Let's take a look at our number grids. As a matter of fact, the sum of the digits is a factor of 35.
I thought so. Then the sum could be 5 or 7.
That's correct. Let's move on to Dorothy Kilbasa, opinionated columnist who writes whatever comes to her mind.
Oh, it's a very short column. I'm just kidding, Dorothy. And if you've ever kidded Dorothy...
Stow it, or I'll tell your fans where you get your hair painted.
Ooh.
John, is the number prime?
Checking our monitors. Yes, the secret number is prime. We're left with 3 numbers. Back to you, Kitty.
John, darling, is the number 3 more than a multiple of 10?
Is the number 3 more than a multiple of 10? No, it is not, and therefore the secret number is the only one left, 41. Congratulations, panel. Well, I hope you folks at home got the number right as well, and that we will see you next time on What's My Number?
Oops is brought to you by erasers. Don't make a mistake without one. On December 24th, 1937, Shirley Withdrawal was working on a secret government project. The project was so secret, Shirley didn't know what it was or which government was doing it. Because of that one tiny little mistake, just look at the secret disaster which took place.
Oops. The number should have been larger than 300. Oh, I see where I made my mistake.
Let's look at that again.
Perhaps if I'd done it right the first time, this never would have happened.
Oops has been brought to you by Erasers. Don't make a mistake without one.
Take any number, add one more, and make it bigger than the number before. What would you say if I walked around the world? The world? That's not infinity. What would you say if I counted every grain of sand? Every grain? That's not infinity. What would you say if our record sold more copies than all the stars could hold? No, no, no. That's not infinity. That's not infinity. Infinity, there is no end. Just add one more and you extend. Infinity, there is no time. Whole numbers never stop. Infinity, keep building up. Infinity, keep building up. What would you say if I read every word in the library? Every word? That's not infinity. What would you say if I counted every note I ever played? Every note? What would you say if I danced more steps than anyone ever danced before? No, no, no. That's not infinity. That's not infinity. Infinity, there is no end. Just add one more and you extend. Infinity, there is no time. Our numbers never stop. Infinity, keep building up. Infinity, keep building up. Take any number, add some more, and make it bigger than the number before. Yeah, play it! Infinity, there is no end. Just double and you extend. Infinity, there is no time. These powers never stop. Infinity, there is no end. He keeps building them over and over again. Infinity, keep building them. Infinity, over and over again. Keep building them. Infinity, over and over again. Infinity, keep building them.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Friday, 9:43 a.m., and it was awards time in New York City. Broadway was picking up its Tonys, Off-Broadway was getting its Obies, mystery writers were getting their Edgars, and ventriloquists were picking up their Charlies. We were working the day watch out of Mathnet. My partner is George Franklin. The captain is Joe Greco. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We were locked in a real problem-solving crime that had taken us backstage along the great white way of Broadway show business. A dear friend, Eve Adams, needed our help. We were willing to give it, but first we needed to look at a few scenes edited for television to get us thinking right. Lauren Bacall was a Broadway star. The operative word is was. She had opened in a revival of a musical comedy called Anything Went, but then she disappeared and Eve Adams stepped in for her. To say that Eve was a hit would understate the reviews. She was a smash. But then we found out what actually happened to Lauren Bacall. She was kidnapped. Not only was she kidnapped, but the evidence pointed to Eve as the kidnapper.
I am going to have to arrest Eve Adams and put her where the sun don't shine.
In jail?
In jail.
And that's just what Captain Greco did, even though George and I were sure she hadn't done it. We had received a coded message from Miss Bacchanal, but were having trouble breaking it. But we kept at it. You have to when trying to solve an important prob. George had arranged what he called...
This is a combinatoric graphic. By moving these up and down, I can look for letter patterns which make words.
And that's what we did, trying to make some sense of the telephoned message code we had received. But there were 12 columns of letters. They can make an awful lot of words.
How many combinations can you make from these first two columns?
I can follow each of these 3 letters with any of these 3 letters.
Well, 3 times 3 is 9. But you really don't have 9 because, look, there are no English words that begin with BK, BJ, CK, or CJ.
Through the analysis of letter combinations, we came up with 3 possibilities and finally came up with a place called Bleak House. It turned out to be a hotel.
In a town called Nyack.
Nyack? N-Y-A-C-K?
Uh-huh.
That's where we figured she was, and that's where she was indeed. Logical thinking had triumphed again. We freed her.
I never thought I'd see freedom again.
And we were afraid of the same fate for Eve Adams, now convict Eve Adams, about whom Miss Bacchanal said...
A treacherous, conniving little vixen who tried to take over my part.
Eve was here?
She was.
You said you were blindfolded.
I heard her. It was Wednesday afternoon.
But when we visited Eve in jail, she said...
When was I supposed to have been in Nyack?
Last Wednesday afternoon.
Fancy that. An alibi.
What?
Last Wednesday afternoon. I was on stage doing a matinee performance of Anything Went. Remember?
Suppose you saw what the morning papers said.
Didn't get a chance to look at him. Ooh. We could keep a Boy Scout troop alive for weeks with this many old papers, Pard.
They all said Lauren is hammier than ever, but, mainly because of us, the show may well run forever.
Because of us?
We found her, and she found newfound fame.
You can't mete out justice to only the people you like, Kate.
I cannot help but notice, George, that you are tied to a chair.
That's right, Kate. I did it myself.
All by yourself? My, what a big boy.
This is a trick knot, Kate. It's the same kind we found around Lauren.
In other words, she could have tied herself to the chair?
Uh-huh. The only problem is...
I know. Why?
Right.
We could play What Do We Know?
Okay. Shoot.
We know Eve has an ironclad alibi. She couldn't have been on stage and in Nyack at the same time.
But Lauren was blindfolded, obviously scared. She could very easily have lost track of time.
And thought she heard Eve in the afternoon when it was really?
The morning.
Maybe. But I think we should check it out.
I've got a call into the Port Authority, Kate. I asked them to check on whether or not Eve could have gotten up to Nyack and back for a 2 o'clock curtain last Wednesday on a bus or a train.
Thanks, George. You believe her too, don't you?
I'd like to, but the facts still say otherwise.
Who had anything to gain from the kidnapping?
The kidnappers, Kate. That's usually the case.
Who else?
Eve. Obviously. She got her big break.
I know.
Mathnet, frankly. Oh, yes, thanks for returning my call. She couldn't have made it by train, but there was a bus that could have gotten her up there by 10 a.m. and one that could have gotten her back by 1:30 p.m. Rats. What? Oh. Thank you. Thank you very much.
She could have made it?
Yes, except Wednesday.
The bus doesn't run on Wednesday?
It's supposed to run on Wednesday. But the dispatcher said the one last Wednesday broke down in Gloucester, New Jersey.
So it never made it to Nyack that day.
Hello, New Jersey Transit. I'm looking for a bus.
While George telephoned the bus company, I reviewed a few of our facts. When working out a problem, it's often a good idea to sit back, take a deep breath, and cogitate, perchance to solve.
The people on that bus were taken back to New York City, where they were put on the next bus to Nyack at 3 p.m.
Right in the middle of Eve's performance. She couldn't have been there, George.
Unless she rented a car.
She didn't.
How do you know?
She can't drive.
Lots of people in New York can't drive, but they do.
George, let's go have a chat with Lauren Bacchanal. We questioned Miss Bacchanal again, but she stuck to her story. Clung to it is more appropriate. Then she said,
I must leave now. So if you'll excuse me.
Excuse the interruption. Lauren.
Yes, Joshua, yes. We must do business.
We have to deal with scads of unpaid bills. We could do lunch.
Fine, fine, fine. Let me put my recorder on first. Hi there. You've reached the star. She's going out to play in the heavens. Leave a message and I'll get back to you. Ciao. Shall we?
Hey, did you notice something funny?
Like?
On some telephone answering machines, you can press the record button and leave your outgoing message, and it automatically recycles to the beginning of the tape.
Yes, mine's like that.
Uh-huh. Lauren's isn't. You have to keep your finger on the button.
So?
Let's go see our friend Eve.
And who are these two masked men?
We're all partygoers, shall we?
No, I won't go. Please, stop, you're hurting me. Don't shoot. Don't put that gag in my mouth. Please, help.
Happy birthday, everybody! Happy birthday to you! Why have you played that again, George?
Yes, George. What are you up to?
How could Lauren Bacchanal have kept the record button depressed while all of that was going on?
You're right. She couldn't have.
We even heard the door slam. That couldn't have happened. The tape has to be phony.
But how did she get Eve to say those things?
You know something that just occurred to me.
What?
Everything I say on this tape is from the show.
It is?
Yes, but not in that order.
Maybe she tape recorded your performance.
She wouldn't have had to.
What do you mean?
During rehearsals, the whole show was taped just to help us learn our lines. Lauren would have had a copy of that tape. And she could have edited it.
I'll be gosh darned.
George, let's go talk to Captain Greco. Eve, things are starting to look up.
Thanks, guys.
We filled the captain in on our new facts. He was impressed, but not convinced of Eve's innocence.
You're still missing one thing, Mathnetters.
What?
Motive. Why would Lauren Bacchanal kidnap herself? What would she have to gain?
Good point. Unless she really thought she could collect the ransom.
But it wasn't paid.
Not all of it, but $2 million of it was.
Yes, but that was her money.
Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. George, let's go see if we have a friend at Chase Manhattan. We got a court order which allowed us to investigate the bank records for the production of Anything Went. We found a couple of surprises.
Are you sure there isn't a second account for this production, Ms. Snood?
Do you mean if I made a mistake? Of course not. I am a vice president. Mistakes are not in my job description.
I see what you mean, George. The most money that was ever in the account was $2 million. Is that right?
Yes.
But the show was capitalized at $4 million. Remember? Lauren put in $2 million, and they raised another $2 million from the backers. Where is it?
Well, heaven knows I don't have it.
The other strange thing is, none of the money was spent. It just sat in the account.
Until the account was closed and all $2 million was taken out in one fell swoop.
And that was done?
Last Monday.
Last Monday?
Yes, Mr. Franklin. The day that comes between Sunday and Tuesday.
Kate? That woman is not only a hammy actress, she's a prophet.
She certainly is a prophet, George. She withdrew the money before she was kidnapped. Come on, George.
Let's roll.
We went back to Mathnet headquarters and laid out the story to Captain Greco. He agreed. We had a strong case. Later, we picked up Eve and Benny and started to the theater. On the way, we discussed the case.
But why did she fake her own kidnapping?
She wanted the show to close.
But why would she want the show to close?
If a Broadway show closes, all the investors lose the money they invested in it.
But...
No questions asked. She raised $2 million from backers, put up none of her own.
So if the show closed, she would keep whatever was left of the backers' $2 million.
And since she paid no bills...
It would all be there.
Most of it, anyway. She thought the show would be a bomb right from the beginning.
But Eve got such good reviews, it looked like the show might make it big.
Lauren couldn't take the chance of having a hit on her hands.
We truly hope we haven't spoiled your show,
But there are things we'd like to know.
If we may.
Question away. We'd like you, please, to just start rapping
About your Sat's kidnapping.
We've got her nailed.
Her pallor has paled.
You thought you could steal the bread and blame Eve instead.
You're out of your head. Your career was dead.
Now your face is red.
No tears for you will shed when you're under lock and key.
You stole the dough and caused this flapping.
You thought you could catch us napping.
It didn't work.
You know you're a jerk. You're a jerk. You're a jerk.
You framed poor Eve and made her look so bad.
Sent her to jail.
You craven cad. My, how you wax mad.
We just want the facts, ma'am.
When money was owed, you sent us a code.
We broke it. It showed that you had been stowed in some old abode.
The seeds had been sowed.
And so Eve was merely history.
You cooked the books and bilked the backers. I think you've all gone crackers.
No, we've got proof.
You made a goof.
'Cause we found out Eve had an alibi.
One that we had to rally by.
Don't you know? I did your show.
The phone tape
You made
the ransom
unpaid.
My neck
mislaid.
Kidnapping
Charade, the whole escapade.
It's starting to fade, my dear.
As you hold on to the bag. On Wednesday, Eve was not in Nyack.
Instead, she was doing my act. So I confess.
You're under arrest.
You have the right to believe so.
Now that I'm a shiny Broadway star, I'll send around my car, and if there's no crunch,
We'll have to do
Aspinall was tried in Manhattan in and for the city of New York and found guilty of a 155.42 grand larceny in the first degree and a 190.65 scheme to defraud in the first degree and a 13.13 letting the air out of an actor's ego. She was sent to prison where it was reported she was working on a new musical, working title, Time on My Hands.